Hello.
Hello. So this is our third crumpet challenge, and I noticed that we've got a new brand of crumpets.
Well, we don't want to sponsor any particular brand. Many are available.
Including Warburtons, should they ever wish to send any. Right, perfection. It's a funny old thing, isn't it? Because if I was having some very complicated surgery done to me, I would want the surgeon to really focus on being as perfect as possible.
Absolutely.
But in most other areas of life, perfection is actually quite a damaging goal to aim for, isn't it?
It's massively overrated.
There's a joke amongst pilots that says that a good landing is one that you can walk away from.
Yes.
And a great landing is one where you can reuse the aircraft. In that really good is more than good enough. Getting there safely and reusing the aircraft. I don't need to explain the joke, do I?
No, let's talk about perfection, or
Okay.
not perfection, in the time that it takes to toast a crumpet.
So why does saying to someone, go for perfect, or even that was perfect, why is that so bad?
Well, I can tell you a story about a friend of mine who, after the huge struggle and interview process that it always is to get an Oxbridge place, arrived at Oxford University. In her tutor group, in week 1, they'd been asked to write an essay, read it out, share it with their group, and she did that, and at the end of this first ever essay at Oxford University, the professor said, "That was an absolutely perfect essay, well done." Imagine what it was like for her to try and write a second essay. It was virtually impossible, and she spent the next 3 years struggling with how could she ever match that first perfect essay. So in a growth mindset, we don't really want anybody to tell us that we've got it spot on or perfect, because what do we do next?
And that plugs into the issues around mental health and our well-being by giving us an understanding that mistakes are incredibly powerful. We know they're powerful in education because we don't learn anything from getting something accidentally right. But in terms of our well-being, saying that a mistake, instead of it being a black mark against us, a cross rather than a tick, is saying, well, I'm so glad I made the mistake. We do a lot of sailing, and mistakes are the only things that we ever really learn from.
No, we never did any courses. We just got on a boat and messed things up till we got it right.
And making a mistake where it doesn't go horribly wrong, you go, well, thank goodness we made that mistake now in harbour rather than out at sea. The whole return to school process and the whole ways in which families are readjusting to a state of life and not just education is one in which we need to say to one another, it's perfectly okay for you to make some mistakes here.
Yeah. And I think during the lockdown we were quite good at being easy on ourselves and saying we don't really know how to do this.
So why is it that we've gone back to school and suddenly all of those wonderful lessons about all in it together and it's okay, I understand.
And some idea that if we just try really hard, we can make up for all the bits and pieces that we lost.
Why have we lost that mindset then?
Yeah, because the mindset that says every mistake is a powerfully positive thing from which we can learn makes for a much happier and better adjusted life.
Is it because we're adjusting from one state to the next and we are so uncertain about the next state that it makes it somehow more comfortable if we can say with absolute certainty, I'm going to get this transition perfect?
I have this sort of sense that the crumpet's going to pop soon, so what's going to be our key thing?
Well, the key thing is not only to allow for our own mistakes, but to allow for others, and to make sure that we communicate with one another the state of our emotions rather than behaving emotionally.
Yeah.
So that recognise that the sooner that I say, this is what I'm going through and this is how I'm feeling, the less that I have to behave emotionally in order to communicate that.
Good.
Perfect. Well, I don't know whether the crumpet is.
Looks quite nice.
Quite nice. It's good enough for a
It's good
crumpet.
What should we talk about in the next one?
Oh, right, definitely. Okay, well, the whole transition and the way that affects our process. Well, we can talk about it then.
Okay, join us for the next one.